Good morning, everyone in the Caribbean, live from Curacao, Willemstad. We're saying welcome to all the participants of this RYLA district event. First of all, I would like to welcome District Governor Sonia, District Governor-elect Leslie, past District Governor Lyle, past District Governor Lara, District Chair Interacts Soraya Warner, Assistant District Governors, speakers, facilitators, participant Rotarians, and all other distinguished guests, welcome. Hereby, all protocols have been observed. So I wanted to welcome everybody. Today is going to be another exciting day. We got all these positive feedbacks yesterday. Of course, the wonderful presentation about being a superhero. We all went home thinking, which superhero do I relate to? Me, myself, I don't know. I'm feeling kind of Wolverine-ish today, but I don't know how I feel tomorrow. Today, there'll be other wonderful presentations coming up. But before we go into that, I would like to outline some of the house rules, please, which will be showing on the screen shortly. There we go. So the house rules, I'm going to repeat, as you might remember yesterday. It's very important to select your language. So make sure that you select your language on the interpretation icon. This is very important for us so we know who needs to go into certain translation rooms, and at the breakout sessions as well, we're able to kind of keep that in mind. So please select your language, English or French. So click on the interpretation icon. Again, I can't stress this enough. Unless recognized by the moderator, your microphone will remain on mute. If necessary, use the raise hand in Zoom and moderator may allow you to speak. During the presentation, sorry, I'm kind of going one before the other. During the presentation, questions, comments should be posted in the chat box. Just to be clear, this should be set to everyone in the chat. So not a specific speaker or a moderator. If you have something to mention, just put that in a set for everyone in the chat box. During the session, you will be automatically assigned to a breakout room. This will be done automatically. Recording and slides will be posted on the District 7030 website and on the YouTube channel if you would like to see this back. All right. So I just want to stress two items on this slide. Make sure you select your language in the interpretation icon. That is very. And during the presentations, if you have questions or comments, please send this to everyone in the chat box. Thank you so much. All right. And now I would like to go on to our first speaker for today, past District Governor Lara. Good morning to you. A little something about Lara. Lara Quentrall-Thomas has more than 30 years of experience in recruitment and human resource management in both the United Kingdom and Trinidad and Tobago, of which 25 as an entrepreneur and a company owner. Her firm's clients comprise large corporations and listed multinationals. Past District Governor Lara serves within various organizations in Trinidad and Tobago. She is a Rotarian as of 1999 and is currently a director of the Rotary Club of Central Port of Spain. Within the District 7030 and outside the district, she has served in various capacities, including District Governor 7030, Assistant Regional Rotary Foundation Coordinator for the Caribbean, Group Study Exchange Team Leader, and Coordinator of 5 Regional Model United Nations Assemblies. Past District Governor Lara, how are you this morning?
Hello, good morning, bonjour. I'm doing great, thank you very much. How are you, Bert? Nice to see you.
It is so nice to see you. I'm telling you, it's so cool to see everybody again. I mean, this whole Corona thing is just kind of making you a bit asocial, and I'm loving seeing you again.
Yes.
So, are you ready for it? Because yesterday we had a fantastic presentation done by Giselle. She set the bar very high.
Oh dear. Okay, so I should just go back to bed then.
No, absolutely not. Do not do that.
Oh no, you're really worrying me. Okay, well, I'll do my best as always.
Hey, Lara, listen, I've seen you present in the past. You're gonna be fantastic. All I'm saying is the bar is just a bit high. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's what our young people deserve, right? It's the very best that we have to give. So
oh, absolutely. And yesterday you should have seen, I mean, these young people, they are so promising, Lara. Future is bright, yeah. My dear. That's all I have to say.
I agree with you.
The floor is yours, ma'am.
Okay, well, good morning, everybody. District Governor Sonia, District Governor-elect Lyle, PDGs, Assistant Governors, Rotarians, Interactors, Rotaractors, young people. Good morning from a very sunny, beautiful Port of Spain. We're getting close to a taste of carnival, whatever that is going to look like. I'm sure you've been following the madness happening here. But never a dull moment in our Rotary lives and in our Caribbean lives. And I'm excited to be here with you this morning. Thank you to Rita and the team for inviting me to talk with you all this morning. I know I only have 10 minutes, so I'm going to get cracking. So I have been asked to talk to you all about the four-way test. And it's a very important part of being a Rotarian. And in fact, I would even suggest being a human being in this very complicated and challenging world that we live in. So the four-way test, I'm going to share with you a little bit of a history about the four-way test and then how we apply it as Rotarians, and then a brief commentary on what's known as the four agreements, which really in many ways mirrors the four-way test that we use in Rotary. So the four-way test is the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. And for any of you who are not Rotarians with us today, have ever been to a Rotary meeting or a Rotary event, or even the office of a Rotarian, you will and you should hear the four-way test, see it framed. One of the things that I have done for a long time since becoming a Rotarian is actually send copies of this to our local politicians in the hope that they may one day aspire to the four-way test. So we frame this, we hang it in our offices. I have it on the back of my business cards as a constant reminder of the four doors that we go through of the things that we think, say, or do. But before we get into it in a bit more detail, let me just share with you the history. So the four-way test is one of the world's most widely printed, what we call a statement of business ethics. And it was actually created by a Rotarian, a gentleman by the name of Herbert Taylor. And the story is that in the 1930s, Herbert was asked to take charge of a company in the United States that was facing bankruptcy. And back in 1932, this company made aluminium pots and pans. It was a very well-established distributor of cookware and other household items, but they were going bankrupt. And of course, those of you that know history will know that 1932 was just after the Great Depression. So a lot of firms in the United States and around the world were really finding their financials in a lot of distress. And so they brought Herbert in to see whether he could, in fact, turn the company's fortunes around. They knew that they had good products, but they also had a lot of competition. They knew they had great staff, but so did their competitors. So one of the things that Herbert had to do was find a way to set this company apart from its competition, and also to inspire his people to do better and to do more. So this really, without even realizing, I think, is about competitive advantage. And this is Herbert Taylor thinking about the organization in a way that was going to be able to set them apart from and make them better than their competition. So he really wanted to think about how he could affect the people, because anybody who's in business knows, doesn't matter how great your product is, it doesn't matter how fantastic or innovative your service is, if you don't have good people, if your people are not committed to the organization, to your customers, to your products and services, then you really can't build and grow and strengthen your organization. So he really wanted to emphasize as their competitive advantage the people in the organization and how service oriented they were and their dependability, which, if you think about it, is what we do in Rotary, because Rotary clubs are only as good as the Rotarians. Rotary districts are only as good as the Rotarians and their commitment and their reliability and their service orientation. So the company did have a code of ethics. Indeed, many organizations do. But when he looked at it, he felt it was too long, it was difficult to remember, and he wanted a simple measuring stick. And in fact, when Herbert Taylor tells the story of this, and it's well documented, he talks about wanting some questions that people could ask themselves before they made any decisions about customers, suppliers, and the business in general. So he wanted to make it simple, but he really wanted it to be in the form of questions that people could ask themselves before they did anything, said anything, or made any decisions. He also discussed the four-way test as it was now being crafted with different heads of departments in his organization from different faiths. And this is an important test because you don't want to introduce something that's going to alienate one particular group or another. And of course, in Rotary, we really do cherish our diversity of opinion, of religious views and of values. But the people that he spoke to, there was a Catholic, there was a Christian Scientist, a Jew, they all felt that the four-way test that he was proposing really was not contrary to any religious ideals. Everybody agrees, regardless of faith, that justice, truth, being helpful, being friendly, really are human characteristics. And they're also very applicable to business. And, you know, it's interesting because when we think about business, we don't often think about truth and justice. We think about profit, we think about market share, we think about, you know, exploring new markets, getting new customers. But really, to run a business that is meaningful, not just profitable, a business that takes care of its people and its customers, really does come down to the ethics of your organization. And the same thing applies to our Rotary clubs. We're not just here to sell barbecue tickets to raise money to, you know, build a library or install a playground. We're talking about changing lives and improving people's lives and communities. And the same thing should apply in business. So without even realizing it, Herbert Taylor had cottoned on to the idea of corporate social responsibility, which we all know now as a very common theme in business. But this is in the 1930s, coming out of the First World War, going into the Second World War, coming out of the Great Depression. So there was really about money and making money and rebuilding businesses and communities. But he took a completely different approach and focused on the people in his organization and how they felt about the company and how they felt about the customers that they dealt with. And so the four-way test was applied by his organization, by his staff, and any business dealing that they came across, opportunity for new customers, opportunity for new sales, they would walk through the four-way test. And if it met any of the criteria, if it didn't meet, any of the criteria, they would not do the deal. And so the company thrived. It's amazing to think, and those of us that own businesses and run businesses almost can't fathom the idea of, before you make a decision to do business with a giant conglomerate or a great new opportunity, that you run it through the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Do you think about that when you think about your business or anything that you do in life? And then when Herbert became president of Rotary International, he donated this code. And in 1943, during the Second World War, this became the official credo of Rotary International and Rotarians. So for more than 80 years, this has been the guiding code for Rotarians, the work that we do in our communities, the way we run our clubs. And I do think we say it every week at our meetings. We say it out of rote now. We all know it. We can say it, you know, without even thinking about it. But we should think about it. We should really understand why the four-way test is there. Why do we say it? Are we really applying it? So it's an ethical guide. It is a test for us to use in all of our relationships. And I want to break it down for you into the 4 different components, because the 4-way test is not just something printed on a card or on a plaque. It is really about how we build relationships as Rotarians, as human beings. And for young people coming into your careers, building your lives, whether you're still in academia or you're going to be graduating college soon and you're thinking about what career to choose, or those of you that are in Interact and Rotaract and are already engaged in service to your community and to your school and your fellow man, you need to always think about the relationships that you build, because relationships are what make life worth living, quite frankly. Whether in my case, it's a relationship with my cat and my dog, or my fellow Rotarians, my family. Think about all the good things in your life, all the great memories you have. Most of them are with other people. And that's because you've built relationships. So as you go into your professional lives, the 4-way test is a wonderful tool to really guide you to build not just business relationships, but lasting, meaningful, genuine relationships. So the first question that we ask ourselves, is it the truth? This is not always an easy question to answer. Why do we want to know if it's the truth? Well, in the long run, as Theodore Roosevelt said, the most unpleasant truth is a safer companion than a pleasant falsehood. We all know how difficult it is to keep up with lies. If you've ever told a lie and then you've got to try and justify it and keep going, the truth is always easier. You know, we know from our own growing up with our church and our school and our family about telling the truth. We all know that this is something that we're supposed to do. And yet in real life, day-to-day life, telling the truth is not always easy. If you're telling a customer something because you're trying to win a deal, or you're telling a colleague in your Interact club or your Rotaract club something, the reason why you didn't complete a project or why you didn't submit a report, are you really being honest? You know, the dog ate my homework is not always the truth. So using the truth as the very first step through the 4-way test, it's there for a reason. And the truth means that you are somebody that I can trust. It builds trust between people and between groups. If I know that you are telling me the truth, even if it's unpleasant and hard to hear, I know that you are somebody who acts with integrity. And telling the truth is the first step in acknowledging a problem and then working towards a solution. You cannot solve a problem if you're building on lies. So telling the truth is a difficult thing to do, but it's an important thing to really commit to doing if you want to be somebody who is known for their standards, their integrity, their trustworthiness. This is why we don't trust so many politicians in the world. If you think about the politicians in your own country, globally, you know, the stories are littered with politicians. We don't trust them because we don't believe they're telling the truth. They might say one thing on the political platform, and when they get into office, something completely different happens. So don't let that be the standard that you have as a Rotarian, as an interactor, as a Rotaractor, as a human being. You should be committed to being somebody that people know they can trust. You'll always tell the truth, even if it's hard to hear. This means that you use critical thinking, you ask the hard questions, but you then become somebody who is a trusted problem solver. So if your Interact club has a problem, or there's a problem in your school or in your community group, whatever, even in your family that needs to be resolved, people should know that they can come to you and they'll get the truth, and that you'll ask the difficult questions. So the first question, is it the truth, is all about building trust. The second question that we ask, is it fair to all concerned? So we've established, first of all, that it's the truth, but the truth may not be fair to everybody. So the two questions do have to go hand in hand, because yes, you can tell the truth, but it may not be fair to all concerned. And this is about accountability. Now, you've all heard of the golden rule, I'm sure, but there's also the platinum rule, which I hadn't heard of until quite recently. So the golden rule is to treat others as you wish to be treated, The platinum rule is to treat others as they wish to be treated. So that is all about understanding their needs. And this is a really important distinction because in Rotary, many service organizations, one of the things that we have been charged with doing is really truly understanding the communities that we serve, the groups that we work with, and understanding what they want, how they wish to be treated, what are their expectations. And in doing that, in asking those questions, so we may have a project in mind that Rotary's excited about and the Interact Club's excited about, but the community, not so much. Have we really truly stopped to understand what their interests are and how what we're going to do will affect them? And if we really ask those questions, is it fair to them? This leads to accountability. Again, not something we're terribly strong on in this part of the world, particularly when it comes to, public spending and these sorts of things. As a Rotary Club, as an Rotaract Club, as a young person, anybody, you should be able to stand behind the decisions you made and be able to share with full transparency what you've done, why you did it, bearing in mind that it was fair to everybody involved. So fairness leads to accountability, which we should be as Rotarians, especially, of course, using donor money and Rotary Foundation money. So fairness speaks to understanding other points of view and trying to find shared and common goals. It's a simple question, but a very impactful one. Is it fair to all concerned? The third element of our four-way test is about building relationships, which I spoke to briefly earlier. So we've asked, is it the truth? We've asked whether it's fair to all concerned. Now we want to determine whether it's actually going to achieve what we want, which is building relationships and friendships. And this is about fellowship, which is something that Rotarians are known for. Rotary is fellowship through service, or service through fellowship, depending on which club you're in. And we're known for building relationships, both in our local clubs and as well as, of course, in the district, in the Caribbean, and in the wider Rotary world. But it also, in fellowship, is about including everybody, about respecting different points of view, about being open to different suggestions and ideas, and not thinking that you always know the answer, and really agreeing on how we want to go forward as a club, as a group, to make sure that we achieve those objectives that we've set for ourselves. But the relationships that we build as Rotarians, as Interactors and Rotaractors, is what gives us the passion to do the work. Because anybody can do work on their own. Anybody can, do a project by themselves. But the joy of service is in fellowship. Spending time with people you like, you've got a common goal, you're excited about the project, even if it's virtual. It's still lovely to spend time with people virtually, not quite the same, of course, but, Rotarians are known for getting their hands dirty and for getting in there and doing the work together. And in that process, we build relationships and we build friendships. And those last a lifetime. And the fourth question is it going to be beneficial? So you've asked if it's the truth, you've asked if it's fair, you've asked if it's going to build friendships and relationships. And now you want to make sure that everybody involved benefits. And this is about loyalty and having win-win situations. So, we are naturally inclined to act in our own self-interest. But as a Rotarian, as an Interactor, Rotaractor, young person in service, everybody that you encounter should win. It really should be about cooperation rather than confrontation. So you want to, and that's how you build loyalty. That's how you get sponsors coming back to you, Rotarians staying in your club, people recommending you, people in the community coming back to you time and time again, and the media supporting the work you're doing. All of that is because we are working together to achieve a common goal. And we really do view every encounter when we wear our Rotary pin or wear our Rotary shirt as a win-win situation, and not me versus you, but me and you. And we build loyalty in that way. And this is really what we should strive for, because this is what Herbert Taylor did. In the long run, if you want to build a successful business, a successful career, a successful Rotary club, It's about everybody in that organization winning, from the receptionist to the CEO, from your newest member to your most experienced member. And that builds loyalty. It pays off. So this is the fourth gate that we go through. So the four-way test, if we really think about it and we really apply it to what we do as Rotarians, has massive impact. So for anybody in this call that says the four-way test every week without really thinking about it, I would encourage you to stop a moment and really truly think about the 4 questions and how you apply them as a Rotarian and how you apply them in your business. And so the four-way test is really, in many ways, a parallel to what's known as the 4 agreements. And this is an ancient philosophy that talks about happiness, talks about love. So there is a mirror. The four-way test is about relationship building. It's about being fair, being transparent, being loyal. The 4 agreements speaks more to love and to connection. So there are similarities, but also slightly different. So I'm just going to briefly share the 4 agreements with you because I think they're lovely. So these actually come from ancient Mexico in the very, hundreds of thousands of years ago, from the city of Tula and the great iconic feathered serpent god that they're known for. I'm not going to try and pronounce it, but similar to my surname, Quetzalcoatl. And so some of you may have heard of the Toltec. And the Toltec had this 4 agreements. They were revered for the way that they lived their lives as an art form. So that everything you do in your life, from the moment you wake up in the morning, is a conscious spiritual act. And not spiritual in the religious sense, but a conscious act of building a better, happier world, building relationships that are meaningful. So even when you're awake, you're almost, in a sense, or they felt that life was a bit like a dream. You're only here for a little while, so make it count. So the 4 agreements, and think about how they connect to the 4-way test. The first is to be impeccable with your word. This means that you only say what you mean. You use words to speak truth and love. You don't gossip. You don't speak badly about others. If you don't, my mother always used to say, and I'm sure many of you who are old like me know this, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. I don't necessarily agree with that, but the idea is that the words that you use have power. And if you say you're going to do something, you should do it. There's nothing more frustrating in this life than somebody promising something that they then don't deliver. So make a commitment to be impeccable with your word. The second agreement that you make with yourself is to not take things personally. And this is really about when other people react or behave in a certain way, it's their problem, it's their issue, it's not yours. And this is about understanding what you can and can't control. You can only control how you behave. And you will behave with integrity, with love, with truth, because that's what you've committed to. You cannot control how other people behave. The third agreement is to not make any assumptions. And this speaks to asking questions. This is about finding the truth, which also, of course, ties back to our 4-way test. And then finally, always do your best in everything in life, whether it's making a cup of coffee for your mum in the morning, doing your homework, doing a presentation for Rotary, being district governor, whatever it is that you're going to do in your life, you always do your best. And this changes every day. But it's important to make a commitment to do your best throughout your life. So my friends, the 4-way test, the 4 agreements, important things to remember as you build your lives, as you build your careers, your families, have them in front of you, have them as a reminder. Every decision you make, every act you take, every step you take, I'm sounding like the police now, every step you take, every breath you take, think about the 4-way test, think about the 4 agreements, and let them guide you to a life of truth and honesty. Thank you very much.
Lara, thank you very, very much. Again, awesome presentation. You didn't keep it within 10 minutes, but you're not hearing me complain.
Sorry, yes, I know.
No, this is awesome. You're setting the bar even higher. This is great. Just to be clear, because we have a pretty young audience. We're talking about Police the Band. Look it up, Google it. It's
Yeah,
back in history, but it's a band, people. It's not the blue. It's not none of that. It's a band.
Yes, every breath I take. Oh my gosh, yes, aging myself.
That's taking you way back. I just wanted to ask you something before we go on to our next presentation, because I mean it's awesome presentation. Thank you. We have, of course, lots of young people looking at this and going, okay, how does this applicable to me? Well, all of you are busy with your vision and mission board. Think about the 4-way test. Better yet, think about the 4 agreements when you're busy with your vision or mission board, right, Lara? I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. And, you know, that's why I keep making the point that you can apply these to everything you do, whether you're doing a simple task at home or doing, you know, corporate strategic plan. There's so many ways that we can apply both of them, the 4-way test and the 4 agreements, and there are synergies. I absolutely agree. You know, really think about acting with integrity and being honest and being truthful. It's not easy, but certainly if you make a commitment and you constantly remind yourself, you know, it's like put it on a t-shirt so that I remember. And one of the things I wanted to say to the young people is that this is about building your brand. So what do you want to be known for? Do you want to be known as somebody who keeps their word, somebody who speaks the truth, somebody who cares about other people and builds relationships? You know, you don't want to be known as a selfish person who doesn't keep their word, who lets other people down. So this 4-way test and the 4 agreements help you realize your vision for yourself as a young professional, as you go into work and study and you know, parenthood and all of those things. What do you want to be if you were a brand, what would the characteristics of your brand be? And the 4-way test can help you answer that question.
That's awesome. That's awesome, for sure. And I mean, I know for all those young people there, I mean, we were all teenagers at one point. Sometimes it's kind of hard to meet certain expectations. Guys, it's your life. You live it only once. You know, like Lara said, what kind of brand, what do you want to stand for? Thank you so very much for your presentation again, Lara. I really appreciate it. On behalf of everybody over here in Curacao, we really appreciate the time you took to talk about the 4-way test. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Have a great day, everybody. See you all soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, so that was a great presentation by Lara. Now on to our next presentation, which will be by the very inspirational Alton Pass. If I may say something in short about Alton. Alton was born and raised in Curacao and is just known to be a smiling young man with a passion for music. Alton is a writer, composer, inspirational speaker, that's for sure, and a leader. On the 22nd of November, 2009, Alton had a car accident that left him with a spinal cord injury. The cause of the accident is a heart condition named Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome. This heart condition caused him to faint while he was driving. And since the accident, Alton has been in a wheelchair, inspiring others when giving different motivational speeches and workshops for companies, business leaders, youth groups such as we have here, and even classes at schools. Now, during his recovery period, he made himself a promise to work for a better quality of life for himself and to his fellow men with the spinal cord injury and with other physical disabilities as well. And that's why he founded the Fundación Alton Pass, which means the Alton Pass Foundation, on September 7th, 2012. It is a nonprofit organization with the goal to raise awareness and also works for a better quality of life for people with a spinal cord injury. Ladies and gentlemen, on the screen, the very inspirational Sir Alton Pass. The floor is yours, sir.
Good morning. Thank you, Bert. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Rotary for the opportunity to share about my story, inspiring the youth groups organizing this whole session to help us improve, develop our youth so that our future can be better than it is today. So as already mentioned, I'm going to give a presentation about the 5 life lessons that I've learned through my experience with my own car accident. It's going to be an interesting talk. We're going to have fun. These 5 life lessons helped me, so I'm definitely sure it can help you as well as you're growing through life and experiencing life. And these tips can help you navigate sometimes a difficult situation that you can experience, challenges that may come to you. So I'm really excited to share with you this, and that it also has a positive impact in your life as well. Next slide, please. So as you heard, I had an accident, so I wasn't not always in a wheelchair. You can see the first photo on your left. That was in 2019 or 2012, excuse me, and 2009. Sorry, 2009. And 2009, I was 19 years old, and I was considered that year one of the peak of my life, because I was in 2 different musical bands. I was playing percussion, conga, drum set, timbale, tambu is a local instrument here in Curacao. So pretty active. I was going to a Fraternio SBO, it's a school here, and I was best of the school. So I was really motivated because it was the first time that I was able to study a specific subject, ICT, and I was really motivated about the studies that I was able to do. And especially because at the school, there was some periods of time, if you had good grades, you wouldn't be mandatory to go to school. So that was also one of the motivations to always have good grades, so I could get more vacation days. So and that year as well, I was able to participate in some big music festival on the island. One is called Festival Tumba, and the other is called Canta do Mayo. They are cultural musical events. I was able to present playing percussion during those days. So it was a really great year for me. And the day of my accident, I was also going towards a presentation, and I fainted while I was driving. I don't remember what happened. I felt that I just fell asleep while I was driving, and I dreamed a lot of different things, weird stuff. But I remember there was one time that I was in a dream and I saw my mom walking towards me. And I remember from that moment, she came to me and she said that I had a car accident and I'm in a hospital in Colombia. So in the second picture, you could see where I was laying when my mom came there to tell me that. That was in an intensive care unit in Colombia. I wasn't able to move anything of my body. I was not able to speak. Difficult to communicate. You can see a tube right in my throat, but before it was in my mouth to help me breathe. So it was the tough days. The only thing that I could do was either cry, think, or talk to God. Every other thing I needed help. Bathing, eating, turn over on the bed, getting dressed. Everything else, I needed help. So it was really 2 years that I was going through different experiences. I had to do different surgeries, and till 2012, I was able to start my nonprofit. And the picture under the picture right was a picture that I took 2018, not so long ago. I had a person that was able to give me a photo shoot, and I made a photo shoot not so far from our downtown. So it was a really long experience from where I was, being in a hospital without able to move anything, so now that I can roll my own wheelchair, I can bathe myself, I can dress up myself, even cook some dinner. So it was a long experience, and still there's a lot of developments. and definitely with my nonprofit, that I was able to create a facility to provide exercise for people with spinal cord injury or other physical disability or other types of paralysis. And also accessibility, manual, accessible transportation for people with wheelchairs. So it wasn't only I wasn't able to do it by myself. I had help with a lot of different people, organizations, volunteers, but it has been a long road. And for me to get here, though the next 5 lessons has been a critical part of the things that I've achieved till now. Next slide, please. And these are so I'm gonna go through these 5 steps. If you have a pen and paper, I suggest you. If you don't have it, get it. Because sometimes I could say some words or some phrases that can inspire you through some thoughts. But if you keep thinking about it, you'll miss the rest of the lessons. So you could write it down and go back afterwards to dive more deeper in those lessons that I've shared. Next slide. Okay, the first slide, perspective. Lara also talked a little bit about it, but in my experience, there was different moments that I've see how I can be beside someone, but because I'm in a wheelchair, I get a whole different perspective than someone that's standing right beside me. And I never forget this story, not this moment. I was with my mom, with my mother, that's also a volunteer in our nonprofit, and we were going to an appointment with government officials. We walked from the parking space to the office, and she was walking right beside me. But since I'm usually in a wheelchair, I always see what's in front of me to see if there's something that I have to do a maneuver over it or something. So I did what I normally do. During the office, we had a meeting. After the meeting, they asked me, Alton, so you came here for the first time. What tips do you have, or what did you notice about accessibility that we should take into account? So I started explaining definitely 3 things. The tile was a little higher, so I had to go a little bit to the left. There was a cone right in between the pathway that I wasn't able to go. Normally, I had to do another maneuver. So I mentioned a couple of things, and after the meeting, my mom was also surprised about the things that I said, because even when she was beside me, she didn't notice those things on the same pathway that we were. And that was one of the examples that perspective sometimes can be different, even when you're together with someone. So for instance, if you're in Rotary right now, you have a project, there is a possibility that even though you're with someone with the same group, same objectives, it's really important to understand if everyone has the same perspective on the same things. And it's really important for you to understand what perspective they have, so that they can also understand your perspective. And doing this, I've noticed that how important it is to explain myself better so that people can understand. During my time in Colombia, as I said, I wasn't able to communicate. The voice of my voice wasn't able to come out because I had another damage at my throat because of the tube that was in my mouth. And it was really important to try to communicate better, because everyone had to read my lips because I didn't have voice. So every word has to be better chosen. If I had to explain something, I had to be really good at explaining, because nobody knows what I'm feeling. Nobody knows what I'm going through. So it was really important to explain better so that they can understand my perspective. And I had to understand them as well, so so that I can explain better. So that is the first lessons, perspective. It's better to understand others so that you can be understood. Next slide. Be grateful. We won't be able to appreciate what we already have if we only focus on what we don't have. So this one is after a while that I was outside of the hospital, I was home. I remember that there was a moment that I keep thinking that if I was able to move my legs, I was only able to move my legs, I will be able to exercise my legs every day, consistently motivated so that my legs can be stronger, so I can walk better, and so on. After a couple of days thinking about that, I started thinking about if I wasn't able to move my arms, I would be saying, if I was only able to move my arms, I would exercise my arms every day, making my arms stronger, making it more faster so that I can do more. And at that moment, I realized that now I am able to move my arms. Why don't I do it? So every time that I focus on what I don't have, I try to use that same thought on what I already have so I can appreciate that. And sometimes we won't. There's so much things to be grateful for that we don't even realize. What do you have right now that if you lose it, it will make a big difference in your life? It could be your parents, it could be your house, the ability that you can eat every day, your health, that you can hear, that you can see, that you can talk, that you have friends, loyal friends, or that you have a pet, or that you have a hobby, you have some skills. There's so much that we can be grateful for. And yes, definitely, there's so much that we can do. There's so much more that we can do and that we can achieve that also is part of our process to grow and have a bigger impact in our lives and in our community. But what do we have right now that if we don't have it anymore, it's gonna make a big impact in our life? So by being aware of that, we were able to be more grateful. And the funny thing is, being grateful always brings more unexpected things to be grateful for, in my experience. So I've always been interested and curious to see what are the things that I should be grateful for every day, even if it's happening right now, or even if it's experiencing from the future. And this lesson that I've learned helped me a lot in my life, and also gave me the motivation to keep smiling every day. Because even this opportunity right now to share with you my life lessons is something that I'm grateful for. That I can sit here right now and share my experiences, and also that I could be a better person for my community, and now even community outside of Curious. Okay, so that was the second lesson. Next slide. Take action. Now, this one was a little hard for me. As I said, during my days in the intensive care unit, one of the things that I did a lot was cry. Because as you know, I was a really active person. And in a blink of an eye, I was laying there in the hospital bed without the ability to move anything from my body. I was even thinking that which people on my school would notice that there's a guy in their age that's laying right now in a hospital bed without the ability to move anything. At that moment, even my homework didn't matter. What was trending didn't matter. If I had a haircut wasn't matter, didn't matter. What types of music didn't matter, because I wasn't able to know what was gonna happen to me. So those emotions were really heavy. Like I said, I cried a lot. And I don't know if this is something naturally from us, but like a baby, you cry a lot till somebody brings something or does something so that you can stop to cry. But in my case, it didn't matter. I could cry the whole day, every day, nothing changed. The only way I noticed that something changed was when I took an action. The emotion that I had didn't make a difference. The only difference that it make is the action that I take. And the funny thing is, so I was in an intensive care unit, and I heard that on the bed beside me, we were separated in like different doors, but the person beside me was someone from Aruba, and Aruba is a neighbor island from Curacao. And they came one time in his room, and they noticed it was the man was sleeping below his bed. And I thought that I didn't want to stay so long in the hospital, so that I would be one day below my bed sleeping or something. I don't know. I found it weird. So I said at that moment that I have to do something different. I have to take an action. And on that day, I told myself that I was not gonna stay in this situation, no matter how long it takes, no matter what I should do, what I will have to experience, what pain I should feel. I just made a decision that I wasn't gonna stay in that room. And at that time, I was 19 years old, as I said before. And I was thinking after 10 years, I would be 29. After 10 more years, I would be 39. After 10 more years, I would be 49. After 10 more years, I would be 59. From 19 to 59 was 40 years. 40 years was longer than the 19 years I already lived. And I was thinking, imagine living 40 years on a hospital bed. Because at the 60 was in Curacao the year to go to pension. So I really made a decision. And from that moment, I started to doing more exercises. I was getting physical therapy once a day. I was doing more exercises. I was trying to see what I can read, what I can search, because I was able to also, my body improved, and I was able to go from the intensive care unit to a normal hospital room. So I was able to use laptops, see what I can do, what information I can see, or anything, so I can do something to make a difference. I did use my emotions to motivate me, but only feeling the emotion was not making a difference. I had to do something. And that was something that I realized every day, that if there's a situation that is bothering you, the only way it can change if you can take an action to create a solution. Definitely think about it and see what solution you can think about. But complaining won't help with it. Sitting and thinking about it and feeling bad won't help with it also. Taking action is the way that you can move forward. That's life. Curiosity. The moment that I understand the importance about curiosity was when I went to the rehabilitation center. At the rehabilitation center, the goal is to prepare you to go back to the community. If you need to learn how to ride your wheelchair, if you need to learn to bathe again, if you need to learn how to get out of bed, go inside your wheelchair, or if you're driving, learn how to drive, and almost everything you will have to learn again, so that you can go back to your house, to your community, and live more independent based upon your situation. So that meant for me that I have to try different things. And sometimes it was the most unexpected moments that I was learning new things. There were moments that I had to take a bath or go to the bathroom, and sometimes it could happen right in the moment that the nurses were doing their meetings, and their meetings are sacred. So sometimes you can ask for help, but they will take longer than usual to come to your bed to help. So there was one time that I said, since I'm waiting, I don't have nothing else to do. Let me try to see if I could take my clothes off myself. And funny thing is, I was able to do it. And that's when I know that when I knew that I could take off my clothes myself. There was one time that a nurse told me, try to see if you can get a way that you can brush your teeth yourself. I tried it, it worked. So curiosity always was a big part to see what are the new things that I can do myself so that I can keep improving. And after a while, when other nurses got to know me, they noticed that I was doing things differently from other patients. And when they asked me how did I did it or how did I learn it, I said, I just tried. And it worked out, I kept doing it. And that's also one of the reasons that when a doctor, medical professional see me, they notice for the injury that I got, I can do more compared to other people that has the same injury. In spinal cord injury, it is interesting that there's no similar injuries, despite of having a spinal cord injury at the same location on your spinal cord, but everyone is different. But the things that I'm able to do for my type of injury is more than usual. It because always I was curious to see what I will be able to do myself. Try to discover what I can do, and not only physically, but also mentally, also emotionally, because it's only about knowing ourselves that we can also improve ourselves, like unraveling new layers of ourselves to understand what our potential are that we can keep going forward. So, and curiosity is a good thing that could help you everywhere that you are, and not only so that, because it's always easy to say no or to be scared about taking risk or about having courage to do things differently. But if you're curious to see what are the great things that can come out of it, that will be a way to help you to take risk, to courage, so that you can see what can be the outcome. That's like the last slide. Okay, we are not so different. There was one moment that I was inspired by a wise man that say that 99% of we human beings are the same. We are different by only 1%. Most of us, almost every one of us, has one heart, 2 lungs, 2 arms. We can feel, we can cry, we can laugh, we can jump, we can do different things. We different only by 1%. So through my experience, definitely also with my foundation, that I was able to meet with famous artists, celebrities, CEOs, founders from different organizations. There's a lot of things that we can learn from each other. And it's almost the same things that all of us can do so that we could keep going forward. Everyone that has a success had a tough story that they had to go through. Almost everyone knows Lionel Messi. one of the things that motivated him a lot, that helped him to the success he had today, is because when he was young, he had a condition that he wasn't able to grow normally. He was short, and he was getting teased about it. So to prove himself and to prove his ability to others so that he would stop getting teased for his height, he tried to do his best to play better football than everybody else. And because of that, he got noticed by a professional team. And that was the opportunity for him to go and play on a professional league. But the reason was because he was getting teased by his height. So almost everyone knew that. Also, I'm sorry. I mean, everyone has a tough story that he got through, and because of that, he was able to be successful. Even me, but almost every one of us. Sometimes people can see me in a wheelchair, but sometimes I am even inspired by people that dedicate their life to their family. That sometimes they have challenges in their family. Sometimes people have challenges emotionally. Sometimes people have challenges financially. So we all have a story. We all go through different challenges, but we all have the same capacity and potential to also grow through them. And that is one of the things that I noticed, that if we can see that, we were able to go through everything and to achieve great things in life. That's life. So in conclusion, these are the 5 lessons that you can practice. As you notice, these are things to practice, things that you can do, things that you can master, and by doing them, you can keep moving forward with your life. The first one is perspective. Understand people's perspective so that you can be understood as well. The second is be grateful. There's always things to be grateful for. And I can even say that it is a skill to recognize the things to be grateful for, even through tough times, even through a pandemic. What can we be grateful for through a pandemic? What can we be grateful for the challenges that we experience? Take action. Complaining, feeling the emotions won't make a difference. Do something about it. Create a solution. Be innovative. By taking action, we can move forward. The 4 is curiosity. What can we learn? What can we improve? What can we discover more about ourselves? What are the other potential that we have in ourselves that can help us to move forward? Being curious so that you can learn new things and do more, because you cannot do more that you already know. If you want to be better, you have to be, if you want to achieve great things, you will have to learn to be great yourself first, so that what you can do can become great. And the last, we are not so different. You can do it too. Everyone can overcome so many challenges and create an amazing life and have an amazing impact in the world. So that was my part. I'm really grateful for everyone that was part of this presentation that followed, and also the different comments. Thank you for every messages, comments, and compliments. I really appreciate it, and hope these 5 lessons help you practice them. Go back maybe another time to read them, think about it, meditate. If there's also something that you can do, meditate on it, and let's help it. Let's make the best of it.
Alton, thank you so very much. That was an excellent presentation. And I'm telling you, your smile is $1,000,000, buddy. I mean,
Thank you.
Going through all the things that you've gone through, and you still have that smile, you're able to light up a room. Awesome. And you took action and decided to change your life and the lives of others around you. You are truly inspirational, my friend. And I'm pretty sure everybody, because I'm seeing the same chats as you, I mean, people are just incredibly inspired by you, by the way, your mind, your perseverance, your determination, you were able to move on with life. If you don't mind, we're kind of running short on time, but just before we go on to our next thing, these 5 lessons are invaluable. So to everybody out there, I hope you wrote them down. I hope you made screen copies of them. They're invaluable. What point did you, when you were lying in that hospital bed, say, all right, Alton, you can cry all you want, buddy, but this isn't going to change anything? Like, what is it in your mind that just made that switch?
Yeah, at some point you notice that you're only on yourself, because in the intensive care unit, you're actually by yourself. I did got a visit from my parents. My mom and my father was in Colombia, but only one person could be in the intensive care unit with you. And it wasn't like they could stay the whole day. So most of the times I was alone, and crying alone, you get bored. There's nothing happening. I was like waiting for my oxygen level to improve so that I could go outside of the intensive care unit. But you're just laying. We're used to at this moment to get exposed or distracted by a million things: our phones, media, music, nature, whatever. But in a hospital, in that room, there's not a lot of things that you can see, that you can do. You're just laying there.
It's just you and yourself. So you get plenty of time to kind of think through stuff in life and going, what's important, buddy? Yeah,
exactly.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for taking the time and come out here and inspiring all these hundreds of kids we have listening to you. It's been a joy to listen to you. And again, I mean, it doesn't matter how many times I listen to this story, you keep on being inspirational.
Thank you.
Masha danki, like we say down here in Curacao. And well, I don't know what else to say. I just wish you a wonderful weekend, and thank you for taking the time to give your inspirational presentation.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity to share and inspire you all with my story.
Hey, buddy, it's been our pleasure. It's been our honor. Have a good weekend, my friend.
Thank you.
Bye, Alton.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I just have to take a deep breath after that one. So now we're going to go on to that amazing part of the day again, where we're going to go into the breakout room, where we have those sessions. And like yesterday, like most of y'all had mentioned in the chats, this is truly where it's all about. This is truly what's going to make your day. These breakout sessions are really good, very inspirational. It's great to have all these different opinions and people come in these chat rooms and sharing their visions. So what we're expecting in this breakout room, in this session, is for you to discuss your vision board. Okay, you'll be able to work on it. And we'd like to emphasize it's about dialogue. All right, it's about talking to others, listening to others, understanding others' point of view. So that's what it's all about during this breakout session. Again, we're going to be showing the QR link within a few. This QR link you would need to scan. Oh, it's right up there already. Thank you very much. This QR link you need to scan with your device. We have also placed it in the chat for those of you that are having difficulty with your device. We have placed the link. So break out your device, scan this QR code, or click on the link that we have provided in the chat box to everyone. And like what happened yesterday, everybody will be placed into different breakout rooms. And we're going to have about half an hour for this, so about 20 minutes to discuss, and then we'll have the last 10 minutes in which we will be discussing the questions. So without further ado, I wish everybody a very inspirational and wonderful breakout. That's about it. On to your breakout rooms.
The first question was about passion. I am a passionate person, and the participants would have to put on a scale of 1 to 5 how passionate they are. We see the average, I guess, is a 4.0. Let me see if you move. Can we get the numbers? Because 41 people have said that they are very, very, very passionate and given themselves a 5. 30 of the participants gave themselves a 4 out of 5. 15 participants gave themselves a 3, and very few, just 2 gave themselves a 2, and probably 6 gave themselves a 1 in terms of passion. So the vast majority of the participants rate themselves between a 4 and a 5 out of 5 when it comes to passion.
Arthur, not surprising, we are in the Caribbean, my friend. I mean, we're passionate people.
Paul? All right.
Absolutely.
Right, Paul? Am I right?
Absolutely. And it's Saturday morning. So let's go to the second question. I still must find my passion in life. And there we see a different outcome. A 3.3 on average. So people are still looking for the passion in life. But the majority, like Arthur said already, find themselves passionate, but are still searching what else they can do. So yeah, we hope that also after the inspiring talk of Alton this morning, they have a different angle to look at passion, and also to especially look into the power of mind and things they can do to stay passionate or to become passionate.
All right. So there you have it, the first of the 2 breakout rooms.
And the third? Passion is a key element in achieving one's goal. Okay, there we see totally different result. The majority believes that passion indeed is a key element in achieving one's goals. So we hope that also in the breakout rooms you talked about it, and you were inspired at least by Lara's elements of her speech this morning, and also Alton, that passion will help you in achieving your goals.
All right, thank you for that summary, Paul. And now, without further ado, I am going to introduce Esther Jacobs, or Jacobs as we say in Dutch. Esther is often called the no excuses lady because she turns any obstacle into a stepping stone. At the start of this century, she was the Netherlands' first digital nomad, long before the lifestyle became popular, even before the world was digital. She has visited more than 100 countries and hasn't stayed in one place for more than 4 weeks in the past 15 years. I'm jealous. Esther has never worked for a boss and has set up many successful projects as an entrepreneur. She has given more than 1,000 keynote speeches, and having been knighted by the Dutch Queen to everyone's surprise a few later in her home country, the Netherlands, she was fired, so to speak, for traveling too much. We'll hear about that. Since then, Esther has been advising governments, digital nomads, and other organizations on how to adapt the system to the location. She helps remarkable individuals to find more freedom and to write their own book. Good morning or good afternoon, Esther. I have no idea where you are calling in from today. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for the introduction. I'm actually in South Africa today, near Cape Town, and it's evening. And I'm actually having dinner on a wine estate, and I asked them for a place to do this presentation. They gave me the general manager's office, and look at the view.
Oh, wow. Like I said, I'm jealous.
Well, I think your view is not much different in the Caribbean. But anyway, this is another example that you can really work from anywhere as long as you have an internet connection. And even as a speaker, I've given over 1,000 keynote speeches. I've been giving speeches and TEDx speeches everywhere in the world, but always I had to be present. And thanks to COVID, because every negative situation also has opportunities in it. Thanks to COVID, I now do everything remote, all my workshops, all my presentations, and the whole world caught up with me as a digital nomad. So for years, I was kind of extreme and weird and yeah, you can do it, but it doesn't work for my job or for our organization. And now everybody's up to date. So that opens up a lot of opportunities also for the people listening and watching today in the Caribbean, because maybe sometimes for jobs in the US or Europe, you were too far away. But now you can work from anywhere. So if you make sure your online presence is good and people can find you and you stand out from the crowd, then who knows, maybe it will be you next time giving a presentation like this from anywhere you want.
All right. Very interesting opening words. And like I said, the floor is all yours.
Thank you. There is a lot of things I can talk about, but I think the most important thing, many young people are told that you have to study and you have to work and you have to get diplomas and you have to save up money and you have to make plans and you have to prepare for the future. But times have changed so much that I think there's a completely different approach nowadays. I always say, work with what you have. Start now. You are enough. You don't need a diploma anymore. Of course, it may come in handy if you want to get a job in a big organization, but many successful entrepreneurs don't do anything that has to do with what they study. They just use common sense and they recognize and seize opportunities when they pass by. And I think looking back, what I've always done is to find the opportunities in difficult situations. So when a difficult situation happens, whatever it is, whether it's COVID or you don't have money or you get denied the job that you want or you have relationship problems, anything that's difficult, there's always a present hidden in the shit. And many people like to stay away from the shit, but if you really dive in and look for the present, then at least you get something out of this shitty situation. It may be an insight, it may be an opportunity, it could be anything. So as was mentioned in the introduction, about 6 years ago, I got fired from the Netherlands for traveling too much. Apparently there's a maximum number of 8 months that you can travel, and you have to stay 4 months per year in the location where you want to be registered. And I traveled too much, so I couldn't be registered in my own house. That's my property that I pay taxes on. They wouldn't register me in my own house. And because I was not registered, I lost my voting rights, my pension, my social security, my health insurance, my company got deregistered, my bank accounts got closed, and my phone plans got cancelled. So like a game of dominoes, my whole life collapsed. And I tried to do everything I can. I wrote to the ministers. They had a meeting on it, Kamervragen, it's called, for 3 weeks. All the ministers in the government had a meeting on my case. And they decided, well, this law is not meant for people like Esther Jacobs, but technically the city applied it correctly. So you can be deregistered. And there was nowhere where I could apply. There was no higher up because the ministers had decided. And there was only one organization in the Netherlands that kept saying, Miss Jacobs, to us you are and will always be a citizen of the Netherlands. And guess who that were? The tax service. So I had no more rights, but they still wanted me to pay taxes. And it took me finally 3 years to get to an agreement with them that I don't live in the Netherlands, I don't live anywhere. I started renting out my house, I even sold my house. And in this difficult situation, because there were a lot of insecurities, how do you get insurance? How do you take care of yourself? What if something happens to me? I found a solution for everything. And also, I found the ultimate freedom. Because before I wanted to stay in my comfort zone. I traveled a lot, but I still felt that I should stay registered in the Netherlands and insured in the Netherlands because I knew what that was like. But now I learned there's always a solution. For example, my health insurance is now in IKEA family in Mallorca. I was in the island of Mallorca. I went to the IKEA. I saw a big flyer about health insurance and I said, is that also for foreigners? Yes. Can you also do that when you don't live in Spain? Yes. Is it worldwide coverage? Yes. And I have worldwide health insurance for, I think it's 70 euros per month. And that's much less than people even in Europe pay. And I think especially in the Caribbean, it's also very expensive. So there's always an opportunity and a solution, but it has some requirements. First of all, you shouldn't be closed. So if you think it's not possible, if you think I'm not worthy, if you think you keep thinking it's unfair and somebody else has to find a solution, it has to be the government or it has to be my employer or my partner or my parents. If you keep putting the blame outside of yourself and you keep waiting and you make yourself a victim and dependent, then nothing is going to happen. Only if you accept the situation for what it is. It doesn't mean you have to agree with how things came to be the way they are, but the situation as it is cannot be changed. It is as it is. And if you open your eyes and take the current circumstances and make the best of it, you take control, that's where you get energy. At least for me, I was fighting against this decision for months. And I had all kinds of reasons and arguments, and I wrote letters and emails, and I complained, and I gave interviews, but nothing changed. You cannot change the system. And then I decided to apply my own principle, the no excuses lady. I was having all kinds of excuses. I thought, okay, I'm going to turn the situation around. If they won't let me stay in the Netherlands, then I'll leave and I'll become like, you know, a non-existent person. And I will live a very free life. And you know what happened then? The Dutch government that fired me wanted to hire me to help solve the problem of digital nomads. The Dutch tax service hired me to give an inspiration speech. All kinds of funny things happened. And from that moment on, I'm advising governments and individuals on how to live a free life and how the system can catch up with reality, because we have a reality and then a system is developed with laws and whatever, and then reality goes on, but by the time the new law is ready, the reality is already, you know, way ahead. And especially when the reality is moving so fast as nowadays, you know, we can't blame the government and laws to be a little bit slower, but we shouldn't let ourselves be slowed down. So whatever you want to do, find a way to do it. Don't wait till you win the lottery. Don't wait for governments. Don't wait for somebody to help you. Take the first step yourself. And there's a big secret, because each of us has something that can be of value to others. And many of us don't realize, because when you're really good at something, when you're really passionate about something, you don't realize because it's so natural to you. And you think that everybody can do this thing, or everybody knows this thing, or everybody feels the same way. But they don't. And think about for yourself, what are the things that you get a lot of questions about? That your friends ask you for help, that your professors know that you're good at, that you feel that come easy to you. There's probably something that you can do better than others, faster, easier, more creative, that provides value to others. So look at those things to see how you can offer your help and get some money or something else in exchange. That's where your strength is. And sometimes those are the characteristics that are often labeled annoying. You are too fast. You are too curious. You are too slow. You are too fast. You know, your environment always labels something out of the ordinary as negative. And what you should do is not listen to those people. Don't change who you are. Change your environment, because in a different environment, this characteristic may be appreciated instead of labeled as annoying. For example, I've never worked for a boss. I've always been an entrepreneur. And of course, I started small by doing some market research and some surveys. And I also I was a freelancer for Capgemini. And when I worked with the other consultants, I was very result oriented, because when you work for yourself, you want to get your job done as soon as possible to get paid to go on to the next thing. But people working as consultants often try to fill their time. So I was much faster than the other consultants, and they were annoyed by me. Esther is so pushy. Esther is too fast. Esther is too present. We don't like her. And then when I started to apply those same principles for a charity collection that I did when the euro was introduced, I collected all the leftover foreign coins for charity, and I collected 16 million euro. Then suddenly those same characteristics were labeled as positive. Esther is a go-getter, Esther is creative, Esther does things that nobody else does, and she gets things done. And that's where the no excuses lady comes from. So remember this, whenever people criticize you, listen to them to discover what characteristic they are talking about and turn it around. What environments could this characteristic be appreciated? Maybe you are too detail oriented, and then in an entrepreneurial environment, people think you're too slow. But if you're in an accountant environment, those things are appreciated. Maybe you take too much initiative. And in a government organization, they may think you're too fast, but then you go to a startup and they like your initiative. So have a look at yourself. Are you risk averse? Do you like taking risks? Are you detail oriented or bigger picture? Do you like to talk and get other people into your cause, or do you like to work in a back room and get results? Find out who you are. That's my most important message. And then look for opportunities where those things match. This is an opportunity or a situation many people run away from. And then if you go towards it, you're already in a unique position. And if you look at yourself, what makes you unique, what makes you stand out from others, and you bring those two things together, you have a beautiful opportunity. I don't hear you.
Am I on? Yes.
Yes, now I hear you.
Yeah, thank you, Esther. Wonderful presentation. As a business coach, a lot of these terms that you've used hit home. Use common sense, one of the first things I said. But remember, common sense is not so common. So for what something that for us may seem normal, for other people is not so normal. Another thing, and especially what I liked for the young participants, two things you can be sure about is death and taxes. So, you know, we're all going to die someday, hopefully not for a very long time, but the tax department will always find you, and
they're going to get you.
I hope that you charge them a lot for sharing your knowledge with them. One of the other things I thought that you mentioned, if you can expand a little bit on that, is that there's always a solution. Many times we feel, and I've realized when I am under pressure, and you know, you have to find a way to find a solution to a problem. If you look hard enough and keep calm, you will find that solution. And many times I have the feeling people tend to give up a little bit too quickly. How do you balance those two?
Well, first of all, if you give up, you're never going to find a solution. And again, you put the initiative in somebody else's hands. So you're going to wait until something happens, until somebody helps you, until the universe, whatever, changes. So I think you should never give up. And what a lot of people do, they keep trying, but they keep trying the same thing. And there's a beautiful saying, if you do what you've always done, you will get what you always got. So if something doesn't help, it doesn't work if you try harder, faster, more often. You have to find different roads, different things you can try. And sometimes when you turn something around, like I just said, when everybody's running away from something, you go towards something, or when everybody is standing in a certain line and you go around the line and you ask, is there a different way to get there? Often it's surprisingly simple, but you have to get out of this thing that everybody's doing and that is not working. For example, I think I said this in my intro video, I wanted to spend the European winter, the South African summer in South Africa. And 2 days before my flight, end of November, it was announced that every country would close to South Africa because of the Omicron virus. So everybody was canceling their flights. Oh, we're not going to South Africa, it's so dangerous. And I was like, I have to get to South Africa before it closes. So I made my flight 2 days earlier and I was on the last flight into South Africa, and life here is great. You know, there's nothing going on. It's much freer than the rest of the world. So instead of going with the panic of everybody, I had my own information. I contacted some people in the country. They said everything's fine. And I went towards the place where everybody was getting away from. So it's a not business related example, but don't give up, because then you give up control. And don't keep trying the same thing. If it doesn't work, try something different and be creative in what you try.
Okay, thank you, Esther, for that answer. One of the things I just heard you say also is, when everybody zigs, you zag. So don't, just follow the crowd, but create your own path. Finally, for my final question before we go into the breakout rooms, one of the things that you said, I thought it was very important, is that you get paid for the value that you add. Most people think, yeah, well, you get paid for the hour. No, you don't get paid for the hour. You get paid for the value that you add. And that might mean that we have to get outside our comfort zone to do something that is new or scary for us. What advice can you give us to, get outside that comfort zone and, jump into the deep without, and on our way down, fixing our wings?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. You don't burn all your bridges. So you don't give up your job until you've tried this entrepreneur thing. Try something on the side, and if you do something that you're passionate about, that you really like, it won't feel as work. Offer somebody to build a website for them if that's what you love doing, and ask them to reward you according to the value you provide. Offer to help somebody with their social media if they don't know what to do. The thing is, you don't have to be an expert. You just need to know a little bit more than that other person that you're helping. So especially young people nowadays, you are so at home in the digital world, and you cannot imagine that older people really have no idea what they're doing, what they're talking about. You can help them. 1 hour of your time may be worth a lot for them, or offer to help them on a continuous basis. See if you can sell a subscription, even if it's just for 25 euros or dollars a month, that you help them with something digital. For them, it's nothing. And if you have 10 of those people, you start to build a certain income. And for people who want to dive more into this, I actually just started a program. I call it 1 Year to Freedom. And I give people access to all my workshops, all my books, all my online programs. And we have like 1 or 2 live workshops, online workshops a month, in which we look at all those things. What is your value? How can you become a digital nomad? How do you make sure you're visible? I also have a lot of free stuff on my website, videos, blogs. So if you're interested in these things, invest in yourself and try to find out what are the questions that people ask you. It may be your parents, it may be your neighbors, it may be your teachers. Hey, can you format this document for me? Can you record a video for me? Because you're always so good at doing those things. And you may not even realize, hey, that might be my unique thing. And it doesn't feel like work because I'm good at it and it comes easy and it's my passion. So really the best investment is try to get to know yourself and where your added value is, and just practice. Practice 100 times, fail 99 times. It still means that you find your unique niche.
Oh, wonderful. And actually on that last comment that you made, somebody who failed 10,000 times before finally having the light bulb, you know, stay on. That is a great inspiration for all of us to keep trying until we do it. Don't stop after 5 or 10 times, because if they had stopped a long time ago, maybe we'd still be using candles to light our lives.
Yes.
Esther, on behalf of Rotary and the RYLA organization, I would like to thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. As I said, many of the things that you mentioned hit home in my line of work as well, and especially grateful that you've been able to give the young participants some tools that they can find whatever path it is that they are creating. One of the things, unfortunately, in my opinion, that many educational systems are a bit constraining, that they force the students to go in a certain way, but you have given us a key on how to unlock the door and find our own path. So once again, Masha Masha Danki, as we say here.
You're welcome. And to the young people out there, of course, education is important, but many education systems train you for jobs that won't exist anymore. And I think you know better than anybody else where we are going, and the world is getting more and more digital. So I think that's your advantage. So grab that advantage, make it your own, and make sure you're visible and help people who know just a little bit less than you do. And there's really, really no excuses.
All right. Thank you. And on that note, we get ready to go into our breakout room session. As I said, or as was mentioned earlier, this one will last approximately 30 minutes. And you're expected to discuss your vision board and to will be able to work on it via dialogue. Once again, the idea is that you brainstorm dialogue with the other people in your breakout room, so that you get more information in order to help you complete and even perfect your own vision. Sure. Before recapping the day, we will go to the results of the questions of session 3. The theme for these questions was values. So can we get the first result? 70, close to 72%, 71.6% of all the participants thought that values were very important, très important. Almost a quarter, 24.7%, thought they were important. So yeah, 97% of the participants thought it was either very important or important, and very small percentage, I think 1% and 3% respectively, thought it was a little bit to more or less. So not very surprising. given the fact that we are, you know, interactors and Rotarians, and we listened very well to what Lara had to say. I will expand on that a little bit later. Anything
Can I
to
say
add?
that? Can I say I'm a bit surprised that 24% said it's not that important? I'm wondering why.
No, they said it's important.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. It's very important that it's important. Right. I apologize. Glasses, Bert.
Okay.
You're right.
95% in total important or very important. So no, I think, and Lara elaborated on it this morning as well, values are important, and if you bring them into your life and especially make agreements you can build on, it will help you in your mission and in your vision.
Yeah, because I think I saw somewhere as well, you know, it is it takes you a long time to build your reputation, to build the character, the things that people will remind you of. It takes a fraction of a second to lose it all. So you start at a very young age, use the building blocks that you have learned during this weekend and also from your upbringings to make sure that you're building someone with strong character, because that is something that they cannot take away from you.
And especially nowadays, building your brand takes a long time. So I thought also the remarks of Esther were very helpful. Know your unique selling points. So focus on your value, but also what makes you unique, and yeah, take it forward.
Okay, the next question is, what do you value the most? The highest one, 4.7, was honesty. So once again, going from the 4 points, the 4 questions from Lara, this has resonated very much. The number 2, with an average of 4.4, is justice. And number 3, also with 4.4, is helpfulness, being able to help others. And number 4 with a 4.0 is friendliness. So in that sense, yeah, the vast majority of them had a rating of 4 or better. Okay, was that the last question? Or do we? No. Finally, the question was, values are more important than money. An average of 4.1 out of 5 says that values are much more important than money, because that's the thing, you know, if you lose money, you can always make it back. If you lose your values, that might have a bigger impact on you and on your life. Once again, money, you lose it today, you can get it back tomorrow. If you lose your values, who knows when you'll be able to recover. Yeah, we had one person who says that, 4 people that thought it was not very important at all, values, but once again, the vast majority of the participants think that values are far more important than money. See, that was the recap of the questions, the polling for today. I'll give a quick recap of what we went through today. Of course, we had the talk from Lara about the 4-way test, and actually the background. Of course, I've been in Rotary many years. that's one of the first things you learned, but I thought it was very interesting, the background and how it got started and how it is being used, not just within Rotary, but in businesses all over this place. And yeah, once again, you know, this is something, once you've built that character for yourself, it is not something that people can take away easily from you. Next, we had Alton Pass, who gave a riveting speech on, you know, what it took him to crawl out of a very deep hole, so you can say, and the way he did it, I could hear the passion in his voice. We mentioned that earlier, Bert, that I could just, you know, I was shivering sitting here. It was just wonderful to hear such a delight in his voice, like you said, that $1 million smile, and just a great story. And once again, it gives me, in any case, pause to think that I'm thankful for the life I have. You know, many times we complain when something doesn't go right, but it's all about perspectives. Be thankful for the things that you have, and work slowly but diligently to the things that you still want to achieve. And the last speaker, Esther, who gave us pretty much the key to unlocking what it is that I am really good at, that I am really passionate about. And, you know, the first steps, what can I do? How can I build my life? How can I build a living on things that I'm passionate about and that I can do better than anyone else? So
yeah, I completely agree.
A wonderful collection of 3 speakers, all inspiring in their own way. Final words from Bert and Paul.
I honestly, I mean, I completely agree with all that you said, right? I mean, Alton, like I said, it's incredible. If you think, you know, this is it, no, it isn't, people. You only have one life to live it to the fullest, please. If Alton leaves us with any message, that's the one. And Esther, I mean, isn't it crazy that you get kind of disowned by your own country, except for the tax service? And
exactly.
I mean, this is brilliant, and I mean, it's awesome. And the whole lesson, I mean, that I got from past District Governor Lara's remarks were, I give the 4-way tests, a copy of the 4-way test, to every politician I know. I thought that was brilliant. So, you know, each and every one of them presentations that I got so much out of. And you know, Arthur, thanks very much. You were an inspirational as well. I loved the way you were having a conversation with Esther and bringing out all these golden nuggets that she was presenting to us. Guys, one wonderful day today. I hope all the participants got something out of it. Not I hope, I know that they got something out of it. So I can't wait until what tomorrow brings.
All right.
Thank you, Bert. Yeah, very inspiring morning, and I agree with all what was said already. And especially Alton, it's all about your mindset and how to get out of it again. And Esther also said, if you stuck or if you keep to your values, and if sometimes it's not going the way you want to, then at least don't change it, but change the environment, look for opportunities, and just go for it. So very inspiring morning, and I hope everybody got enough input to work on your mission and vision statement builder. And back to you, Arthur.
Yes, thank you both for your comments. We're closing off now. Tomorrow we will start a half hour later, so 9:30 Curacao time. And we have a soon-to-be 6-time Olympian, speaking Shurandi Martina, a sprinter from Curacao, who's representing the Netherlands. He'll explain why. He will be speaking tomorrow, and I believe it was 2 or 3 days ago that he announced that he will try to make the Paris Olympics in 2024, making him a 6-time Olympian. which for a sprinter on 100 and 200 meters is almost unheard of. So very great speaker. We are looking forward to seeing all you here tomorrow. Once again, 9:30 we start, so please sign in by 9:25 in the waiting room. Au revoir.
See you tomorrow.